Hi everyone and welcome to the CLO Virtual Summit 2025. I am Laura Martinez, CX Manager for CLO Europe, and I am happy to be kicking off this second edition with all of you. Today we are connecting creators, students, and independent designers, all united by a shared passion for digital fashion and innovation. This year's theme, From Sketch to Reality, is all about empowering individuals to bring their ideas to life using CLO. So whether you are just starting out or already building your career in 3D fashion, this summit is designed to inspire, educate, and connect. You will hear not only from incredible speakers who will share their journeys, creative processes, and also practical tips, but also we will explore tools like CLO Academy, our new community space in Connect, Jinny, and initiatives like CLO Verified certificate and the Rising Talent Contest. Do not miss either the CLO Roadmap and Key Features, where you will discover the key new features of CLO. Feel free to use the live chat throughout the session if you have any questions or thoughts, because we are here and happy to engage with you. We will also be launching a few quick polls during the event, so if you want to share your opinion or help us shape future experiences, we would love to hear from you. So get ready to discover new workflows and learn how CLO can support you in shaping your future in fashion. Let's dive in.
Hello, my name is Ana Córdoba. I am a fashion and graphic designer from Spain, now based in London. My work is at the intersection of fashion and technology, and while my background is actually in fashion design, I see my work evolving into a broader exploration of responsive technologies, AI, and material science. I have been a CLO user since 2020, first as part of my practice, and now I also teach it at a university level here in London. I started studying fashion back in 2016 in Madrid, but after 2 years there, one of my tutors encouraged me to apply to Central St. Martin's. So I got in, I started with foundation year, and then I went on to do the BA in fashion print. Between my second and third year, I had my placement year, which basically means you go out and work in the industry. And I spent 6 months at Le Marais in Paris, which is part of the Chanel group. In total, I spent 7 years studying fashion, and I finally graduated in 2023. Right after graduating, I launched my own business here in the UK under the name of Ana Córdoba Studio. While working freelance for private clients and students worldwide, I also knew I wanted to develop my 3D skills further. So I enrolled in an intensive CLO certificate program at Parsons, and I also got a residency at my university, which is a makerspace based in Somerset House here in London, to keep building my 3D work. Later on that same year, I joined the wearable technology program at CLO Academy, where I started exploring digital fabrication, electronics, and smart textiles, all with the goal of merging design and technology more deeply into my practice. So why 3D? Everything started in 2020. I come from a large family. I have 4 brothers, and during the pandemic, the oldest one organized a crowdfunding to buy 13 3D printers for our home in Madrid. Over the course of 3 months, we produced over 3,000 masks for local hospitals, and that actually made me realize the impact of 3D printing. I was amazed by the idea of being able to design something virtually and bringing those concepts to life as tangible, functional objects. So when the lockdown ended, I went back to London to continue my studies at CSM, and after what I had experienced with 3D printing, CLO just felt like the natural next step. I remember I asked my tutor, Elisa Palomino, back in the time, if we could include CLO in the curriculum. But at that time, there wasn't much awareness just of how much powerful it could be for fashion design. I think some still saw it as something more technical or mainly used for the world of gaming. So I decided to just teach myself using the CLO YouTube channel. So the first time I used CLO for a project was the one I developed around the idea of dreams, which is what you can see on the screen. How our brains connect random fragments while we sleep. So I work with digital mistakes from the software and started mixing familiar pattern blocks like t-shirts or jackets and twist them into completely new silhouettes. It was the first time I truly saw how technology could inspire design and not just support it. So my interest towards technology and innovation has opened me some incredible opportunities. In my second year, I won a Chanel competition with a 3D printed dress I designed, and as part of the prize, I worked with them in Paris for a period of 6 months. The concept behind the dress was to reinterpret some of the brand's most iconic elements, such as feathers or camellias, by using 3D printing as a way to replicate their beauty, but without relying on animal materials. The base of the garment, which you can see on the left, was created in CLO, while all the 3D elements like the camellias and feathers shown on the right-hand side were modeled on Blender. That experience taught me how to translate conceptual design into something that could live in a real-world system. Another project that meant a lot to me was working with Elisa Palomino on a detailed recreation of a traditional Ainu fish skin robe, which was later presented during the Responsible Fashion series at the University of Antwerp. At the time, I was still teaching myself both CLO and Blender, and my skills were really basic. But Elisa still invited me to collaborate with her on this personal project, and it actually became a huge learning experience. I used CLO for the pattern cutting and garment simulation, and Blender for designing the scene and creating the final animation. That project reminded me that digital fashion doesn't just have to be something new or about the future, but it can also be a tool to protect, educate, and remember. Last year, the project was published on the book Technology, Sustainability, and the Fashion Industry, with entire chapter 6 dedicated to it. What you can see on the right-hand side is the final animation I developed. My final collection at Central St. Martin's was called the Nexus Paradox, and it was presented in 2023. The Nexus Paradox aimed to explore this blur line between humanity and technology in the digital age. And the idea was to translate the essence of a digital existence into a physical form. And one of the key pieces of my collection was the 3D printed dress that you can see on the screen that was actually featured on the cover of Vogue Portugal last year. The process behind this dress began in CLO. I used the stiff fabric simulations to experiment with shape and structure, and then exported the patterns into Blender, where I broke them into smaller printable pieces and prepared the geometry for production. Since I was using my home 3D printer, which is actually pretty small, I could only print small pieces at a time. I think I ended up printing 45 individual pieces, and each of those pieces took about 9 hours to be printed. Once printed, I assembled everything by hand using metal rings. The collection received some interest from stylists after the CSM show, and these are a few shots from those collaborations. After graduation, I submitted pieces from the Nexus Paradox to the BF competition in Spain. I started with a 3D printed bag and then developed 2 new looks, a corset and a replica of my final collection dress made entirely from printed pieces. I actually needed to make a replica of the dress because I had the dress in London and it was impossible to ship it to Bilbao. So I printed all of the individual pieces again, shipped the pieces to Bilbao, and then assembled everything together once I was there. So here you can see the full lineup of the pieces I sent to Bilbao. I was selected as one of the 30 finalists and invited to the award ceremony in Spain. This is the final video I made for the event to showcase the production and work behind each piece. And during the event, I was also honored to receive the CLO Award last July. Today, I teach CLO at universities like Central St. Martin's, the University of East London, and Instituto Marangoni, as well as working as the founder and designer behind Ana Córdoba Studio, where I collaborate with individuals and brands in anything related to my creative practice. What I love about CLO is that it really flattens the learning curve. I feel you don't need to be a perfect pattern cutter or even come from the fashion background to start experimenting, but you just need curiosity. I have seen a huge rise in interest, and I honestly believe CLO is no longer just a niche tool, but is becoming a foundation for the next generation of designers. I also ran my short course at Central St. Martin's called Creative CLO 3D for Absolute Beginners, where I welcome people from all kinds of backgrounds who are simply interested in digital fashion. Teaching also keeps me constantly learning, as I need to be up to date with any new update. Here you can see some of the work from my final year students at Instituto Marangoni, which I'm actually really proud of. A lot of students start with a really ambitious sketch, and CLO actually helps them to understand what is possible, like what fits, what moves, and what it doesn't. Whether someone wants to work in gaming, performance wear, or sustainable production, I feel CLO is becoming an essential part of how we design today. Many of my students began building their ideas digitally in CLO, experimenting with silhouette, proportion, or even fabrics before bringing them into the real world. Some even go and print their patterns from CLO and create physical replicas of their virtual designs. This process is known as digital design, and basically you end up with a physical garment and a virtual replica of it. It is as well really exciting to see how students don't use CLO just as a visualization tool, but actually as an integral part of their creative and technical development. Right now, I feel 3D fashion skills are in high demand. I think more and more brands are integrating virtual design into their workflows, whether it's for sustainability, speed, or digital marketing. But even though the industry is shifting, I feel there is still a big gap in skilled professionals. I honestly think it's a great moment for young designers to step in, and the truth is that you don't really need to be an expert on anything to just get started. Here you can see some of the work I have developed lately. From what I have seen, the biggest challenge for new designers is often the learning curve and self-doubt, especially for people who don't consider themselves as techie. My advice is to start with small projects, follow tutorials online, and essentially allow yourself to experiment. And as well, don't aim for a perfect render at first, but just focus on understanding how everything works. It's also very important to connect with people online. For me, sharing my work online and collaborating with others has been a huge part of my growth. And it's actually where most of the work opportunities have come from. I don't see CLO or digital fashion as just tools. For me, they're ways to ask better questions, to rethink how we design, who we design for, and how our work shows up in the world. I feel it's not about replacing the physical. I believe technology doesn't take away from what is real, but it actually adds to it. I think it helps us imagine new possibilities and actually expand what is possible. So here you can see some of the work from my website, and I actually share it as well on Instagram. You can also find me on LinkedIn, so please feel free to connect. I feel fashion can be technical, emotional, political, or all of them at once. And tools like CLO allows us to explore that in new and meaningful ways. So again, I don't think they really replace anything, but they actually open new doors that they didn't exist before. So whether I'm building a garment, teaching a class, or recreating a piece of history, I think digital fashion helps me tell better stories.
To get to CLO Academy is very easy and simple. One quick way is to head over our website at clo3d.com. If you come here, You can see there's 3 lines. Now if you have a bigger screen, you will have the tabs already available for you on the first header. Now you click here. Under Learn, as you can see, CLO Academy is available for you to click and navigate to. Once you navigate to CLO Academy, the first thing you will see is our course catalog. Now, under the course catalog, there are already many courses available for learners to pick and register. Now, if you don't know where to start, feel free to utilize the filtering section to the left. Just for testing purposes, I'm going to go ahead and click CLO. Let's do Introduction to CLO. I will pick Level 1 Introductory. Now, based on my choices, 2 intro courses are presented for me. If you are a first-time CLO user or you are fairly new with our 3D software tool, I do recommend you to start with the Intro to CLO Basic Apparel or Intro to CLO Basic Handbag Design. Once you complete these 2 intro courses, it will allow you to move on to the focus courses with more complex garments. So let's go ahead and choose more info here. Now, as you can see here, we listed a lot of information for you to read through and a quick 2-minute intro videos so you can get to know your instructors. I highly recommend new learners to read through the info sections because it does include a little bit about everything this course is about to teach you. There's a total of 5 modules and what each modules will be teaching you and what the quizzes will be include for you to pass. Now let's go ahead and click Add to Cart. Now once you are ready, you can see that this number 1 that is onto the top right corner. That means you have successfully added the course to your cart. So let's go ahead and click on that. And let's go ahead and check out. Now, if you are brought to this sign up page, this means you have not signed into CLO Academy with a learner profile yet. So go ahead and sign up with your first and last name. Make sure the email address you input here is going to be the same email that you are using for CLO Academy. Leave your phone number and the rest of the information that are asked on the form and go ahead and click here. You should receive a verification email through the verification email link through the email that you left it here. This should be able to allow you to verify your account and sign into CLO Academy. Once you have successfully signed into your learner account, you are presented with your dashboard from your learner account. There are 2 major platforms included in CLO Academy. One is your learner account, is the one that you're seeing here, and another one will be the learning platform, and that's where you will be doing the most of your coursework. So let's talk about your learner account here. On the dashboard, you can see that I just registered for the basic handbag design course and I have not started yet. So any of your actively enrolled ongoing courses will be presented here, and you can click go to course and go learn and do your coursework on the second platform. And if you sign up with a learning path, then you will have courses that are currently enrolled and the future courses after you have completed the active course where you can move on to learn your future courses. Now, once you're done and complete a course with a passing grade, you can go to your complete course tab here to receive your certification of completion. On the message center here, you can see this looks just like a regular email inbox, except that you will only be getting emails from your course admin or your instructors of the course that you sign up for. So I do recommend to check your message inbox periodically to make sure that you're not missing any important updates or messages regarding to your course and regarding to your learner account. Now, if you click on register, this just brings you back to the course catalog. So this is very convenient because you don't have to log out, go to the course catalog to add more course. You can do that in your learner account. Now, if you need to edit any of your personal information, such as your name and email, or if you like to reset your password, go ahead and click Edit Account here that you can change up any information. I will not go ahead and click on that because it does record my personal information here. There are two ways you can go to your coursework. If you want to just start the course that are available under your dashboard, you can go ahead and click Go to Course here. Or if you want to see all of your courses that you're currently enrolled in, you can also go to your currently active courses from this tab here under your Edit Account. So let's go ahead and click Go to Course for the active course that I just have it listed there. Now you can see this brings you to the course working platform. This is where you'll be taking the course. I do recommend to read through the course content because our instructors does list some important informations for users to read through, especially some of these included requirements, making sure that your device meets the software, so you're not experiencing any slow process, or if your device is not meeting the requirements, that means you can't run CLO on your device. So please make sure that everything is up to date. And then once everything is all set, all checked, go ahead and start your Module 1 course concept. If you want to take a look all of your currently enrolled courses, you can go ahead and click on the Courses tab on here on the left side. If you have more than one courses enrolled, all the currently active courses will be showing under this section here. Since I don't have many courses available to sign up to enroll, so I only just have this one. But if you do have multiple ones, you can search your courses on the search tab here, and you can drop down any filters to find your courses more easily. On the calendar tab, this is very useful because, for one, you can change day to month view, very easy. I like to see the month view just so I can see what I am going to be prepared for the following days or weeks. As a student, you can set up due dates for your own tasks, or your instructors might have set up due dates for you to complete an exam or complete any coursework by a date. This will all be showing up on this calendar here. You can add events yourself, or you can see if your instructors has set any course due dates. It will also show up here, and it will definitely send you notifications to make sure that you complete your work by the date or time. Now, this message center is a little bit different because this is for you to message your instructors that you enrolled into the course specifically. So I know I signed up course with Jim Simon. So right here, I click on Jim Simon. I am going to be typing a message to my instructor, Jim, and only specifically to your instructor. And in my case, is Mr. Jim Simon. Now, if you have completed a quiz, a test, exam, or complete a course waiting for your instructors to grade your work, this will show up under the grades section. I do not have anything completed yet, so I hope by the time that I complete my first CLO Intro to CLO Basic Handbag Design course, I will get a passing grade. So this is where you'll be notified on whether you pass or whether you need to retake the course. Now, for the institution page, this is just a info section that it links to our social medias, our LinkedIns, and our websites. So it's just a informational link for you to get in contact with us from other platforms. If you go ahead and click on your own name, this just shows your basic information. You can actually change your language settings in here. If English is not your preferred language, you can also change to another language that are native to you. Now, I would say the change password section here, I do not recommend you to change this password here because it doesn't change your learner account access. It changes your coursework profile, your coursework platform. What that means now, if you are on your learner profile and you want to go to your courses, it will not just directly direct you to your learner profile. It will not direct you to your coursework profile now. It will ask you to input the password that you set up to change for this platform. So if you want to avoid all that complicity, I recommend you just leave this unchanged. And if you do decide to change your access to CLO Academy, change password from the edit account section under your learner profile. Under activity, since I haven't completed any course, so you're not seeing anything here, but if you have completed any course, any tests that are completed, it just shows a history of your completed activities. If you need to backtrack to see what you did a couple months ago or even a year or two ago, it will all show up under this section. All right, now that I've kind of explained a little bit about what CLO Academy does, just a few new exciting information that I want to share with you guys. We have currently a Portuguese intro to CLO basic course available for Portuguese speaking learners. And we are planning to add a Spanish version for the intro to CLO basic apparel design course. We want to make sure that CLO Academy grew to fit all of our learners' needs, and that includes, other languages that are native to learners that are not English speaking. So please let us know, what you like to see on CLO Academy, and we will do our best to adjust this learning platform to serve you guys. And hopefully you enjoyed my little tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. And the next thing I wanted to touch upon is if you go ahead and click help, this is a very good, very informative article about CLO Academy. I recommend you to read through. And if you have any questions, you can always email us at cloacademy@clo3d.com. Me or other support person on our support team would love to help and answer any questions that you may have. I want to thank you for your time today and hopefully to see you enjoy learning from CLO Academy. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Hi, I'm Melody, a 3D designer and customer experience manager at CLO, based in our Munich office. Among other tasks, I provide support for our individual users. I would love to give an introduction to our platform Connect. Connect, from the start, has been a community-driven marketplace where you can either freely share, sell your 3D creations and assets. While we provide a store of our own filled with free 3D components, the platform is made possible through your contributions. Therefore, I want to highlight the new Connect community. Whether you're a freelancer, educator, hobbyist or student, it is your gateway to collaboration and inspiration. Next to the well-known Resource Hub, Connect has more features that are waiting to be explored in case you haven't yet. It's a vibrant forum where CLO and Marvelous Designer users come together to grow and innovate. To partake in it, visit connect.clo-set.com and click on the Community tab. Here, you'll find a collaborative space built for connection, support and creative exchange. You can ask questions, showcase your work, and get feedback from peers and CLO experts. Topics from our side include spotlighting the work of talented users, as well as announcements of any upcoming contests that were taking place via Connect. The boards are organized into the following sections. On Notice, you will find official announcements and updates from the Connect team. User Spotlight highlights outstanding community members and their creative work. General is a space for open-ended conversations and community interaction. Challenge features creative contests and design challenges for you to participate in. Projects and Steps is for showcasing your workflows and project breakdowns. Tips and Tricks offers practical advice and clever techniques for using CLO and Marvelous Designer. Q&A is a help board where users ask questions and get answers from the community. On user feedback, we collect suggestions to improve our software and services. There is a job board for posting job opportunities and freelance gigs in the digital fashion industry. You can also advertise your know-how and services here. The community guide provides guidelines for engaging respectfully and effectively within it. Now, I would also like to highlight that through the Connect menu, you can quickly explore additional parts of our larger ecosystem. Additional apps include Everywhere, which is a feature package that optimizes garments made in CLO and Marvelous Designer for digital spaces like gaming, metaverse, and entertainment. LiveSync provides the possibility to send files directly into Unreal Engine from CLO and Marvelous Designer without having to export and import. With AR Filter, you can convert your designs into filters for Snapchat. Jinny is a free solution and the easiest and fastest tool to create 3D garments for users with no prior pattern making experience. You can switch between avatar, garment, and material modes, edit the proportions and silhouette of your garments, and simulate the drape with just a few clicks. You can then showcase your creations directly on Connect. I hope the short overview inspires you to check out the entirety of the Connect website. I wish you great fun with the remainder of the presentations today. Bye!
Hi everyone, I'm truly excited to introduce one of the most meaningful initiatives we have launched this year, the Europe Rising Talent Contest. This contest was born from a simple but powerful idea to spotlight the creativity, energy, and vision of CLO students across Europe who are setting the direction of tomorrow's fashion. At CLO, we deeply believe in the power of education, and we know that the next generation of designers is already imagining and building fashion in a new dimension. So we asked ourselves, how can we connect this emerging talent with the industry leaders of today? And how can we create a space where students are not just seen, but also supported? And this is how Europe Rising Talent came to life. At the beginning of the year, we reached out to some of our academic clients and we invited them to nominate students who stood out for their creativity, technical skills, and potential. In total, 39 schools participated, nominating 78 students who submitted original artwork created in CLO. This year's theme was Digital Diamonds, a concept that speaks to transformation, endurance, and brilliance. Just like diamonds, students are shaped through pressure, time, and skill, and we wanted to challenge them to reflect on these qualities and translate them into digital fashion, and they did it with outstanding results. To select the finalists, we opened a contest voting through our Connect platform, where the CLO community could explore and engage with the submissions. From there, our team selected 10 finalists who were invited to join us in person at the CLO Summit in Munich. These finalists are not only talented, but also surprising, curious, and full of potential. And we want to support them with their next steps. Each finalist receives a 1 year close to the license, giving them full access to continue developing their skills, and a Feature Connect profile in our talent database for 1 year, where they may be recommended to clients looking for students, freelancers, or recent graduates. I want now to take a moment to thank the professors who guided these students throughout their journey. Their dedication and engagement are what made this initiative possible. We are deeply grateful for their support. During our CLO Summit in Munich, the 10 finalists had the opportunity to interact directly with industry leaders, exchanging ideas, receiving feedback, and building connections. Throughout the day, we hosted a live vote to select the 2 winners who were announced on the main stage at the end of the summit. The best conceptual design went to Livia Labus for the Hysteria, a powerful look that explores how women have been pressured to stay perfect and silent. Her design uses sculptural shapes and raw textures to show emotions, resistance, and the fight to stay true to oneself. The best technical design was awarded to Holly New for the dress that should not exist, a digital couture piece made with over 6,000 hand-placed VR diamonds. Built across multiple platforms, it shows incredible precision and creativity, pushing the limits of what can be done in virtual fashion. Each winner received €2,500 prize, and their work now stands as a reference for what is possible when creativity meets technology. But this contest does not end here. We are already preparing for next year's edition with new teams, new schools, and even more ways to connect education and industry. At CLO, we want to be the bridge that brings people together, supports growth, and celebrates creativity in all its form. Let's keep building that bridge. Let's keep expanding the possibilities of what fashion can be. And to close this section, I am happy to introduce someone who truly embodies the spirit of this contest. He is Erisson Sánchez, a semi-finalist in this year's Rising Talent. Let's hear from him about his journey and how CLO has shaped his creative process.
Hi, I am Erisson Sánchez. I'm a Venezuelan fashion designer based in Madrid, currently focused on the intersection between digital prototyping and high-end garment construction. Over the years, I've developed a personal style that blends structure, emotion, and sophistication. I always aim to balance the practicality of ready-to-wear with the elegance of couture. Today, my practice combines industrial pattern making, 3D design in CLO, and physical garment creation, allowing me to design not just beautiful clothes, but meaningful experiences. I discovered CLO at a time when I was questioning the limit of traditional fashion development. Seeing my ideas come to life in real time made me realize this was a new way to design, faster, smarter, and more connected to the future. Learning CLO was not easy at first, but I became obsessed. The more I explored, the more I saw its potential, not just as a tool, but as a part of my design identity. CLO didn't just change how I work, it changed how I think as a designer. That shift in perspective started with one specific moment. When I joined my first CLO public workshop here in Madrid, it was the first time I truly saw how digital tools could support not only design, but storytelling. For me, that session changed everything. I left knowing I wanted this to be part of my process. And from that point on, I felt more confident to explore my voice as a designer through CLO. So let me show you how that exploration took shape through my projects. Each of them tell a different part of my journey, emotionally, technically, and creatively. I'd like to begin with a project that is especially personal. This project was born during a moment of silence, reflection, and rebuilding. For me, the diamond within is a visual metaphor for emotional resilience. The idea that pressures create beauty and that pain can become strength. I developed this design entirely in CLO, from sketch pattern adjustment to final rendering. The silhouette reflects structure and vulnerability. I use draping and sculptural forms to communicate both tension and release. For me, being part of the Rising Talent program gave me the confidence to keep evolving as a designer. And as I keep growing as a designer, I felt the need to explore something more sharper, more energetic. So that's the spirit behind Urban Pulse, a fusion of structure and rebellion. This look was part of my master's exploration before joining the CLO Rising Talent program. Urban Pools merge streetwear energy with couture level detail. It features a black mesh top layered under a quilted bomber jacket inspired by urban armor, and a crocodile texture pencil skirt with a front slit, all designed and industrialized in CLO. Every seam, stitch, and finish was played with intention, reflecting my belief that even bold pieces must remain grounded in functionality. But before that bold energy took form, there was something more raw and honest. So it's the case of the blossom dress. The blossom dress was my very first garment in CLO, a piece born from ambition, nerve, and instinct. It wasn't perfect, but it captured something true to who I was becoming as a designer. And honestly, it's a piece I still connect with deeply. And from there, CLO became not just a creative tool, but as a key part of my everyday process. Today, CLO is an essential part of how I think, design, and communicate. It allows me to visualize ideas instantly, test variations, and make decisions that respect both creativity and technical accuracy. Whether I am working on a personal concept or a professional garment, CLO helps me stay aligned with the intention behind each piece. I'm still passionate about pattern making, construction, and how fabrics behave. But with CLO, I can test and refine everything digitally before sewing a single stitch. It's like having a virtual atelier that works at the pace of my ideas. So to close, there is one last thing I'd like to share. I used to believe I have to choose between being technical and being expressive. Now I know I can be both. And in that blend of structure and soul, I found my true voice as a designer. CLO gave me a new language to express who I am as a designer, and maybe it can do the same for you.
Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Sunny, a software product manager here at CLO Virtual Fashion. It's fantastic to see so many of you here today. This year has been huge for us. We've launched two major updates, CLO 2025.0 and 2025.1, packed with powerful new tools that will make creating digital garments faster and more intuitive than ever. We believe that a great design tool should feel like an extension of your own creativity without any interruptions. That's why we focused on creating a more seamless and intuitive workspace. First, you'll notice our continuously updated interface, which is more clean and user-friendly. A major step in our latest 2025.1 update is the new embedded web view that's more neat and has appealing visuals. This seamless experience extends to our library window. Now, you can enjoy features from Connect without ever having to leave the software. No more switching between windows or breaking your creative flow. It's all right there, integrated into your workspace, and saves you time and keeps you focused. Now for the fun part, creating garments. We've introduced some incredible new features that give you more creative freedom regardless of your experience level. Let's start with this common task, fitting your garment onto different avatars. We've made a huge improvement to our auto-fitting tool. Now, when you resize a garment for a new avatar, CLO cleverly maintains its topology, hence the mesh details will remain the same. But our simulation improves go beyond just garments. You can now apply a realistic soft body simulation to any object you import into CLO. This is a huge creative boost. Thinking about designing a realistic, squishy cushion for a virtual sofa or a plush toy. This feature allows you to bring entire environment to life with incredible realism right inside CLO. And what if you're new to pattern making? Our new AI-powered pattern drafter is a game changer. It allows you to create a draft of your pattern with incredible ease, helping you visualize and iterate on your ideas faster than ever before. For those who want to be more experimental, you can use the 3D pen tool to sketch garments with volume directly into the 3D window. It's an intuitive way to sculpt your designs and add a touch of artistic freedom to your work. We're always looking for bringing more functionality into CLO so you can do everything in one place. A perfect example is our seamless blocking tool. This feature lets you create seamless blocks directly within your design. While you could do this with some workarounds, it's now much faster and easier. This is especially useful for creating clean, professional-looking knitwear. We've also enhanced our mesh retouching capabilities. You now have more intuitive brush selections and a double-sided retouching option. This gives you finer control to perfect the shape and fit of your garment directly onto the 3D model, ensuring it looks exactly right from every angle. And when it's time to share your work, our new customizable export presets make it incredibly easy. You can now save your preferred settings for different 3D file formats, streamlining your workflow when exporting to other platforms or collaborating with others. The details are what make a design truly stand out, and we've added some amazing tools to help boost your assets. A new creative leap is here. The AI graphic generator now supports embroidery, transforming any image into realistic stitch designs you can directly use in CLO. This is just the beginning of the changes that will unlock even more customization possibilities. We've also introduced new denim wash presets. With just a few clicks, you can apply authentic washes and textures to your denim designs, saving you tons of time. Finally, we've improved the zipper so that you can easily manage zipper assets within the object browser. Adjusting everything from the teeth style to the puller details is now much more precise and is all handled in one convenient tab. Thank you so much for your time today. As you can see, our latest updates, CLO 2025.0 and 2025.1, are all about empowering you to design garments quickly and easily.
Hi everyone, my name is Ariel, and I'm a 3D designer and customer experience manager here at CLO, based in our New York City office. I have the incredible opportunity to work with students and individual users from all over the world, whether it's answering questions on Connect, chatting with you on our official Discord, or cheering you on as you learn and grow with CLO and become part of our CLO community. I really do love a good pun, I'm not kidding. And today I'm super excited to tell you about something that was made especially for individuals, CLO Verified. CLO Verified can be found on CLO Academy, and it's our official CLO certification, a program I helped create alongside some of our talented CLO designers across multiple international offices. It's made specifically for users like you to help showcase your CLO expertise and earn something you can proudly display on your resume, portfolio, LinkedIn profile, and other social media platforms. And that is the coveted CLO Verified badge. We've seen some truly amazing designers come through this program. In fact, Trudy Gardner, a phenomenal freelancer and one of the very first users to pass the test, will be speaking later today. I actually got to meet her last year in person at our New York City CLO Summit, and let me tell you, she is absolutely inspiring and you won't want to miss what she has to share. So, what exactly is the CLO Verified test? It's available anytime through CLOacademy.com, as we have recently made it open enrollment, meaning you choose the date and the time that works best for you. It's very flexible. And here's a little bit about what the test entails. You can also always go to CLO Academy, where you can find the CLO Individual User Verification Open Enrollment and click More Info. You'll be able to find more details about it there, as well as be able to ask questions if you need to. So what does the actual test look like? Part 1, build a full garment from an imported DXF pattern, make some minor edits, and follow a provided tech pack and put on all the bells and whistles. Think top stitching and buttons. Part 2, troubleshooting a pre-built garment. Might look all right at first, but as soon as you turn on simulation, things start to get a little bit wiggly. Part 3 is creating a final rendered image following our garment quality standards guide, just like a brand may expect you to follow if they hire you as a CLO designer. One of the best parts of the test, every single submission is personally reviewed by our team. Whether you pass or not, you'll receive a fully graded rubric, complete with detailed feedback and personalized tips to help you level up your CLO skills. My personal best tip, if you decide to take CLO Verified, is to pay attention to the details and make sure to read the Garment Quality Standards Guide carefully. We also send this a little early to make sure you have time to review and study before starting the test. Now, if you're not quite sure if you're ready, don't sweat it and no worries. We also offer the CLO Individual User Verification Practice Test. Again, more info can be found right here, and this is also the page where you can download the practice test from. The practice test is a self-graded version of the test where you can try it out and see how you do before you take the official one. We've already seen so many talented users become CLO Verified, and we hope to see many more of you join that growing group. Thank you so much for attending today and enjoy the rest of the event.
Hello, thanks for having me, CLO. I'm excited to be part of this year's summit. My presentation today will be on creating better, more thoughtful products with 3D workflows. So my name is Trudy Gardner. I am a freelance designer specializing in intimate apparel garments and 3D modeling. I believe that the most useful and effective way of incorporating 3D design is to use it in both product development and for visualization. So I actually don't have a background in the fashion industry. I spent 12 years in the Royal Canadian Air Force as a military pilot. I flew Arctic operations in the northern parts of Canada, as well as search and rescue on the West Coast. In 2019, I was fortunate enough to be able to retire and become a stay-at-home mom. And during this time, I taught myself sewing, garment construction, and pattern drafting. And I quickly realized this was going to be a lifelong process. I eventually discovered CLO 3D, which became a natural next step in the evolution of my garment design process. So I approached CLO in the way I would have approached learning a new aircraft. I studied both its capabilities and limitations in depth, and I tested out how I wanted to use the program within my workflow. And I eventually developed personalized workflows tailored to my projects. And now I freelance as a CLO 3D designer, applying these skills to real world product development. So before I actually started working in CLO, I started freelancing as a illustrator/graphic designer, where I would help independent pattern makers with their illustrations for their construction, as well as pattern layouts and preparing their patterns to be ready for production. And the reason why I focused on intimates is because this is a personal pain point for me. I'm a fuller busted person, and it's extremely hard for me to find garments that fit my body type. And I was really interested in understanding the engineering that goes into the development behind these garments, particularly with structured garments where underwire comes into play. I really enjoy understanding how all of the components, the fabric, the pattern, and the body shape comes together to create functional structured garments. So when I first started using CLO, I would pitch the idea to these independent designers, the idea of incorporating 3D development into their design process. Sometimes I would offer work for very low rates or even free, just to gain the experience of testing out CLO with different designs. So I'll share with you this prototype that I made for Emerald Erin. You saw the sketch for this pattern on the previous slide. This was the 3D sample of the garment. And here I'll just play for you a little workflow of creating the garment. So this one was really cool because this garment was developed using the laces and elastics and fabrics that Emerald Erin actually sells as kits in her web shop online. So this is really cool because it lets you see how 3D sampling enables you to visualize real materials and how a design and pattern comes together without using inventory. So during this time, I immersed myself in learning CLO. I was practicing several hours a day. I was accessing all of the resources I could potentially find. It was really like learning a new aircraft. I was looking into all of the documentation that CLO has published. I was looking at YouTube tutorials and just a lot of practice at this time. And what I realized was there wasn't a lot of workflows using CLO specifically for pattern making and 3D visualization. A lot of tutorials were showing how to use CLO mostly just for visualization, and there weren't a lot of tutorials showing how to use CLO for the pattern making side. So I eventually had to develop my own procedures specifically for intimate apparel because there's so many unique aspects to fitting an intimate apparel garment that I wanted to ensure were captured in the 3D model. So as I was sharing my work through social media and making connections in the industry, I eventually started working with Kristen Anderson. She runs a design agency specializing in intimate apparel and swimwear. So I was really lucky because I was able to work with a small team of designers, and we were creating products from design ideation through to final production. So on Kristen Anderson's team, I was able to help with defining and developing our 3D design procedures. And here's where I really got to see how useful CLO 3D was in the garment development process. It reduced sampling, it improved development efficiency, and it enabled far greater communication and ultimately enhanced the overall quality and precision of the final garments. So this just reinforced to me that CLO was far more than just a visualization tool. So on this slide, I just want to give a quick snippet of the process that we used at Kristen Anderson's agency. So the slide that I have brought up here, what you're seeing is the first sample that we received before getting this sample, the design would have gone through creative design, sketches would have been approved, tech packs created, and patterns made. Sometimes patterns were made by us in-house, and sometimes they were made by the factory. And then once we got that initial first pattern, we would create a 3D prototype of it. We would then have a design review meeting where we all sat down and looked at the 3D prototype together and made any design or fit decisions at that point before requesting our first physical sample. So this brings us to the slide that I'm showing here. This is the first physical sample we received of this garment. On the left-hand side, you can see it on our fit model. On the right-hand side, you can see our 3D model of it. And the reason why I wanted to show this slide in particular is because we called out this gaping that was happening on the outer cup on the fit model. And you can see that gaping is actually happening on our 3D model as well. In this case, because we're so early on in the design process, we hadn't picked our laces. So we applied a standard material that had similar physical qualities to what we were using for the garment. But you can see that the simulation is really showing us the same fit issues that are occurring on the physical sample. And over time, I found that my ability to really evaluate what's happening in 3D compared to what we see in real life becomes more refined. So the more that I would look at a physical garment compared to the digital sample of the garment, as long as I ensured that the physical simulation of the materials was representing the physical materials that we're using on the real world garment, the better I would get at understanding what is happening on the digital side and how to make effective changes so that our prototype came out even more accurate. So in this case, we would make pattern changes, update the tech pack, send the new patterns with comments to the factory for the next physical sample. And on this slide, you can see our final garment. On the left-hand side, we have our 3D prototype, and on the right-hand side, the final garment. And in the center, the actual production pattern that was used to develop this product. So what I really want to emphasize is that creating a 3D sample that actually uses the accurate pattern and materials that you're creating your digital samples with is possible and so much more useful when you have a 3D model that has all the same accurate information, including pattern, fit model, and fabrics as the final garment. And before I move on, one more point I want to make about this is, as we're making changes to the pattern, what's really useful in CLO is being able to see how the pattern changes you make in 2D are affecting the 3D fit. So if we want to change a particular part of the pattern, we can test that out in 3D in various different ways and understand how the changes that we're making to the pattern affect the 3D outcome. And so that when we submit a new pattern to be made as a physical sample, it's much more thoroughly thought through than not having been able to test those changes at all before requesting a new sample. And of course, here's that same garment finalized in a beautiful photorealistic render with custom lighting and render settings and cameras applied. And what I really love about CLO is that this 3D file stands as an archive of this garment. It contains the avatar that's accurately sized. It contains the materials that are required to create this garment. It contains the pattern used to create this garment, even things like what type of elastic is used and the amount of stretch reduction applied, etc., etc. So now, not only is this garment standing as a blueprint to recreate this garment again, but it can also be the starting point for iterations of new ideas or new expressions of the style. So besides being useful for just one style, CLO 3D also can have grade reviews. So here's a garment in product development. So we don't have materials specifically picked out yet, but we do have the physical properties of the materials that this garment will be made from. And here is this garment. This is the actual graded pattern applied to a size set of avatars. So again, this is a point where we can capture any changes that might be required for the grading of this garment before requesting physical samples or going into production. And as I mentioned earlier, we've created a 3D asset library. So these garments are now all held as archived garments, which can be used to reference for either to recreate the same garment or to create variations of these garments. And here's just another photorealistic render that I created for this brief design. Okay, so if it's not already obvious, I love CLO. I think it's really incredible. I think it's such a great tool for helping with even just my own personal projects, but also with product development across the industry. So last year, I was lucky enough to be one of the first individual users invited to take the CLO Verified test. This was a 5-hour-long rigorous exam divided into 3 separate parts. And what it tested was not only knowledge of how to use the software, but how efficiently it can be used. So I'm super enthusiastic about what digital design makes possible, especially for independent users. I find the team is really fantastic and supportive in helping to answer questions and troubleshoot issues, especially on the Discord. Their team there, they're very responsive, and if they don't have an answer for you, they often will go above and beyond to find answers to help you problem solve any issues you might run into. I'm extremely grateful to be part of this innovative ecosystem, and being CLO Verified just reinforces my commitment to helping others learn and grow in this space. Taking the CLO Verified exam, I always joke and say that it kind of felt like being checked out to fly solo for the first time. So here's my advice to new designers. I highly encourage everyone who's working in CLO to have a solid understanding of pattern making and pattern making methodology. You can start with garments that you already own, try and understand how they come together and try to recreate them in CLO. Better yet, if you have patterns that you've actually sewn yourself, bring those patterns into CLO and create digital samples of them. And of course, I strongly believe in also creating physical garments and understanding how they fit on physical bodies. As I mentioned earlier, I think it's most effective when you evaluate the physical compared to the digital sample. I think that being able to understand the physical sample and how it relates to the digital sample enhances your ability to create garments in both spaces. And lastly, have fun. Working with CLO, I find to be an incredible opportunity to play around with design and understand pattern making and understand drafting. And it's just a great environment to play with patterns and play with garments and see what results that you can get without the limitations of our physical space or materials or time. So as I mentioned before, I really enjoy sharing what I've learned. I have both free and paid resources available online. I have my educational YouTube channel where I share tips and tricks on how I use CLO, mostly specifically for intimate apparel. And lately I've been really interested in trying to show the digital to physical workflow. So I create the digital garment and then I create the physical garment so that we can compare the results. I also have an online course called CLO 3D Foundations for Intimate Apparel. It's there to fast track you to getting started in CLO and creating garments with a curated lesson plan tailored specifically for understanding avatars, materials, and patterns as they relate to intimate apparel and 3D simulation. So there are many ways that people use CLO. A lot of people focus on just the visualization and aren't too concerned with the accuracy of what's happening on the 2D side of the program. And some people work just in the 2D side of the program and don't spend too much time refining their 3D visuals. But I really truly believe that the greatest value which can be unlocked with using CLO 3D and 3D design in general is to really work on making sure that what you have with your 3D assets are faithful to what you're using for your real physical garment as well. So an accurate avatar, fabrics with as accurate as you can find physical properties and a pattern that will actually be used for construction. Because a better simulation is what leads to fewer physical samples, which is really what saves time, resources, environmental impact, and development costs. And this also makes you more valuable as a designer because you get closer to a production-ready garment faster and with greater precision. So finally, I'll just leave you with this video that I created for the CLO User Summit last year. I was fortunate enough to be invited to New York and asked to create a visual which was showcased during the summit along with other independent users. So that concludes my presentation for today. Thank you again for having me. If you want to connect with me, you can find me at wayfinder3d.com, which is my website and also my portfolio. On YouTube, you can find me under Trudy Gardner. And I also have a podcast called Underdressed, where I interview individuals from all aspects of the industry to talk about how intimate apparel gets made. Thanks again. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Hi there, I'm Alex Woffenden, and today I'm going to be sharing my journey with CLO 3D so far. I firstly just want to say a huge thank you to CLO 3D for inviting me to be a part of this and share my story with you. I studied fashion design and marketing at the University of Derby, where during my studies I was an intern at Puma for the sports style design team. I now work at a luxury fashion house in the UK as a 3D assistant, where I was very fortunate to get this position straight out of graduating in 2024. I was introduced to CLO 3D by someone at university who had recently just finished a placement and highlighted it as one of the most useful softwares they had used on there. So I decided to give it a try. At first, it was quite difficult as I went in quite blind, but after watching some of the tutorials on YouTube, I found it a lot more easier. One of the projects it helped me with whilst at university was my collaboration with Helly Hansen, which eventually, due to the innovation of design and the experimentation with the software, helped me get first place. A lot of this was trial and error, being playful with the patterns, and being quite relentless. It is quite difficult, and it's not going to be perfect the first time, but we got there in the end. My motivation. At university, you can feel quite lost with the amount of students in the class. I use CLO 3D as a tool to help me stand out from the others and amplify my workflow. I also used it as a tool to help me be able to understand more areas of the industry and increase my potential for the future. I knew that having CLO 3D on my CV would help me gain more recognition and more opportunities, and I believe this is already showing. I also finally used it as a tool to prove others wrong. I still believe that some people think that we're in a traditional space. Fashion is constantly changing, and I believe that CLO 3D is helping drive this. At first, I found it difficult to learn the software. I started with 2 difficult concepts and went straight into the deep end, so I did give up a few times. But after realizing how crucial the software is and is going to be in the future, I did decide to stick with it and give it another go. Started simple by following tutorials on YouTube and taking small steps to feel comfortable within the software. I'm going to show you how I come up with an idea all the way to a final product. For this, I'm going to be using a case study. This was my final university project and was also shown at Graduate Fashion Week. Future Visions. Future Visions is an immersive marketing space built for luxury brands. It has allowed brands to merge the world of fashion with the experience of a video game. Now, I'm going to show you my workflow. Firstly, concept boards. I would start with a mood board to help me gather my concept and understanding of what I want. Due to how immersive this was, I decided to create 3 boards: a colour board, apparel board, and an architecture board. Once I knew what I wanted and had done some sketches, I was ready to dive into CLO. I would create my pattern, play with fill, check pressure points and fit, and then it was time to add an animation. Next, it was time to create the scene. To do this, I went into Blender to sculpt a base structure that would act as the main rooms for my game. After that, I went to Unreal Engine 5 to help bring the world together by adding lighting, materials, and most importantly, importing game mechanics so you can move around and see within the space. With my work, I always want to make it feel like a whole experience that immerses the customer into my world. So to do this, I also work personally on post-production with editing and audio. I did work closely with one of my friends from university to help make the track called Grapevine, which was specifically produced for this project. Now, I will show you the final outcomes of my project that were shown at Graduate Fashion Week.
You say you like where you stand, but I hate, man. Could talk all the ways I feel about you. The more I run, the more I see. In the nighttime, these mares run from my mind, now they own it. All city burns to the ground, dreams are stolen. if I'm a man in the mirror, they expect me to be. Your heart may be for me, but I can't feel it. Your heart may be for me, but I can't feel it. Ooh, you fly north, cause you want, I can't feel it. Say you're northern by nature, I can't feel it. Your heart may be for me, but I can't feel it. Your heart may be for me, but I can't feel it. Ooh.
The visual you just seen there was the full experience for Future Visions that was built in Unreal Engine and made for laptops. Now I will show you the experience I built for virtual reality. In England, at the end of the academic year, select universities will come together in London to showcase their work at Graduate Fashion Week. My personal experience here was great. My work was shown on the runway, and it was super inspiring to see other people's also shown. It is a great place to network and meet other students who are also as like-minded. At Graduate Fashion Week, there is also some awards that are hosted by people within the industry, such as CLO 3D. I was nominated here for an award, so it is amazing to be able to speak and present my work to people already within the industry with the experience. The team that I currently work with were walking around Graduate Fashion Week and stumbled across my work. They knew they had a place open on the team and needed to see if any graduates would fit. My work caught the attention of their eye, and later on this led to conversations and then interviews and then led to me getting the job. A year on from graduating myself, I was asked by someone at CLO to come back to Graduate Fashion Week and help judge the Digital Design Award that was supported by CLO. This was an amazing honour, and it was super insightful to see how students are now experimenting with CLO just like I was a year ago. Even though I'm still very fresh into the industry, I do have a few plans for the future. I do want to start building my own brand alongside working in the industry as I still do, as I still want to develop my skill set. Even though I'm loving my current role at the moment, I'm very optimistic and ready for what's next in my career. My advice. My best advice would be to just go for it. Most people fail because they don't start. From then, you can work out what separates you within the industry. I do believe that everything happens for a reason. For me, I was always interested in streetwear and fashion, but never believed I would be able to learn more about it and make it to within the industry. Until I accidentally walked into a fashion studio at a university open day, and now to see where I am truly showed that anything is possible. I also want to show you an example of how I create. Here you will see a small project I created for my portfolio and LinkedIn. I prefer to keep my projects small due to time restrictions and allow myself to experiment with more ideas. These images are not in order as I wanted to enlarge my final outcome, but they show the idea, my mood boards, all the way to a detail slide, and then my final outcome. This is really easy to post on LinkedIn and other platforms to help attract the attention of others within the industry to help network and build connections. Here the concept was to create an outdoor commercial collection tailored to people with disabilities, hence the Braille logo and the sign language graphics. Thank you for listening. Please feel free to reach out on LinkedIn with any questions you may have. I'm more than happy to answer.
Hi everyone and welcome. My name is Jamie Lee and I'm the Business Development Manager for Jinny. I'm really excited to have you here today, and over the next 10 minutes, I want to take you on a journey into the future of design and education in digital fashion, a future that is more accessible, more sustainable, and more creative than ever before. The fashion industry is undergoing a massive transformation. From digital runways to virtual fittings, technology is reshaping every aspect of how we design, produce, and even how we wear clothing. At the heart of this revolution is 3D technology. CLO Virtual Fashion has been at the forefront of this change for over a decade. And as you may know, our mission is to be the beginning and the end of every garment on earth. And many of you are very familiar with our industry-leading software, CLO and Marvelous Designer, which are used by professionals in fashion, gaming, and film. But we believe that the power of 3D fashion design shouldn't be limited to experts. We wanted to create a starting point, a gateway for everyone to explore the world of fashion. So we asked ourselves, how can we empower the next generation of designers? How can we give students, hobbyists, and even educators a starting point to explore this digital fashion world? Our answer is Jinny. Jinny is an easy and intuitive 3D fashion technology designed for everyone with no prior experience needed. We've taken the core of our industry-leading simulation engine and wrapped it in a simple, user-friendly interface that encourages play and experimentation. Jinny is designed to provide immediate visual feedback, making the learning process not just educational, but genuinely fun. To make this possible, Jinny is built around two distinct modes. First up is Stylist mode. Imagine you're a student just learning about the fundamental theory of clothing about color and shapes. In Stylist mode, you can create and experiment with full outfits in seconds. It's a simple and drag-and-drop experience. You can browse a library of garments, apply them to an avatar, and instantly see how they fit and drape. You can swap colors, test different fabric textures, and mix and match pieces to explore hundreds of combinations in the time it would take to make a single physical outfit. So for those who want to move beyond styling and into creation, we have a designer mode. So think of this as your digital design studio. Here you can get detailed control. You can adjust the length of a sleeve, change the flare of a skirt, or modify a neckline. You can start with a basic template and transform it into something completely unique, or even build a new silhouette from scratch. So in designer mode, you're not just a stylist, you're the creator, the pattern maker, and the designer. So this brings me to the core of Jinny, its educational value. It's designed to be a foundational tool for clothing design, much like Scratch or Tinkercad have become the starting points for coding and 3D modeling. We see it as a transformative tool for teaching across three key pillars: design, technology, and engineering. First, in design, the creative process is all about iteration. In the physical world, iteration is expensive. In Jinny, failure is free. This encourages students to be bold and experiment with dozens of ideas in time it would take to make a single sketch of a garment. This process sharpens their problem-solving skills and gives them a hands-on feel for design principles like balance, color, and proportion. Next up is technology. Digital literacy is essential for any future career. Jinny offers a gentle introduction to complex concepts like physics simulation and 3D modeling. When students see fabric draping realistically, they are witnessing a powerful engine at work, building a foundational knowledge of the technology that is shaping countless industries. And third, engineering. One of the toughest concepts to grasp is how a flat 2D pattern becomes a 3D garment. Jinny makes this tangible. Students can see how a 2D piece wraps and folds into 3D form right before their eyes, building critical spatial reading skills and an understanding of physical properties. So that's how we also designed Jinny to fit perfectly into existing educational frameworks, like the IB curriculum's design thinking process. So we designed Jinny to seamlessly integrate into existing educational frameworks, most notably in the IB curriculum's design thinking process. So let's walk through how it fits. So the process begins with empathize, define, and ideate, understanding the user and brainstorming solutions. Once a student has an idea, they move to the prototype phase. This is where Jinny shines. Instead of spending hours creating a single rough physical prototype, students can create multiple high-fidelity digital prototypes quickly. They can then move to the test phase, presenting these digital versions to peers and teachers for immediate feedback. This rapid feedback loop is transformative. It allows for more cycles of refinement, leading to a much stronger and more thoughtful final product, whether digital or physical. So now, let me show you a real-world example of this in practice. We had a collaboration with Brangsomhol Asia, a leading international school in South Korea. Our journey began with a series of workshops. We didn't just hand them the software. We worked closely with teachers and students to understand their curriculum and learning objectives throughout 4 different phases. Together, we launched the Traditional Clothing Project. The goal was for grade 9 students to research a traditional garment, understand its cultural significance and construction, and then reinterpreted it. So students used Jinny as their primary prototyping tool. They drafted their garment in Jinny, tested the fit on their avatars, and experimented with different fabrics and colors. This digital-first approach allowed them to solve construction challenges and refine their designs before ever cutting a piece of a physical fabric. This has not only saved time and materials, but also empowered them to be more ambitious. The results were stunning. Students created a beautiful blend of digital designs and physical garments as a prototype, showcasing a deep understanding of both technology and craftsmanship. It was a perfect example of how Jinny can bridge the digital and physical worlds in an educational setting. Now for the roadmap. And we're just getting started. So our roadmap for Jinny is going to be packed with features designed to deepen the learning experience and for users to enjoy. We are going to plan for developing full avatar editor for more inclusivity, a tailor mode for more precise control, and more social media sharing options to showcase creations for many of the users. So stay tuned for upcoming features. So to finish things off, what really keeps us inspired is Jinny's potential to be the first step in a creative journey in digital fashion. So it's more than just 3D fashion software. It's a new way to see, to create, and to learn about digital fashion. Jinny breaks down barriers so that anyone can design, explore ideas, and build confidence in their creativity, regardless of background or skill level, even if you don't know about patterns. So it prepares students for the future by equipping them with the digital fashion skills they'll need to thrive. So thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your time, and we're excited to see how you will create, learn, and transform with Jinny. Because with Jinny, anyone can design. Thank you.
Hello, I'm JJ, the CX team lead. I'm here to ensure CLO users have the best experience possible. Before we wrap up today's event, I want to share some insight we've gained from your feedback about challenges of learning CLO, and tell you about our effort to address them. This past June, our CX designer, academic team, and I attended the London Graduate Fashion Week. CLO was an official sponsor, and we had an honor of selecting and presenting the winner of Digital Fashion Award. I'm curious, did any of you meet us there? If you saw us in London, please drop a comment in the live chat. While there, I had an opportunity to speak with students, teachers, and digital companies. I visited university booths to view portfolios and 3D artworks. And I also attended several fashion shows to see their designs come to life. That was awesome. I especially remember the impressive knitwear pieces created in 3D, and some graduates present their entire portfolios digitally. However, we also learned there are still many concerns about using software for fashion design. Many students and freelancers who design by hand without using software share their concern about adopting new tools. They also brought out challenges like finding regular projects and securing jobs. We understand the concern of designers' inexperience with CLO, and our observation from London were further reinforced by data we collected from our users. We see this reflected in search results from our website chatbot. You will find a small icon at the bottom right of the CLO website. That is the chatbot. Our analysis of these search results showed that over half of the website visitors were asking about effectively using CLO software. This figure is nearly twice as high as the number of questions about installing CLO or setting up an account. As you heard in the previous presentation, we also actively monitor users' challenge through our community channels. While our designers are active there, we find it especially rewarding to see users helping each other solving problems. I won't tell you that learning CLO will be easy. Even you had a fashion background, still not easy. Instead, I want to share some video created by Winter Quilts. Let's check it out now.
Once in a busy corner of the garment industry, there was a manufacturer called Winter Quilts, known for its constant hum of activity and dedication to quality. But one morning, a strange software arrived. CLO, someone asked. Is that a new intern's name? Little did they know. It was the beginning of utter digital madness. Buttons vanished, avatars appeared without pants, and somewhere in the distance someone whispered, "How do you even open this thing?" Welcome to CLO Day 1. Chaos had clocked in. Training was arranged, Zoom link sent. Hope was high until reality struck. Day 1, 50% of mics didn't work. Day 2, trainer shared screen. No one saw it. Day 3, one brave soul asked, "What is a 3D avatar?" And then, silence. We learned new words: grain line, simulate, symmetric pattern sewing, words that haunted our dreams. It was like learning to swim in the middle of a tsunami. It was supposed to be a shirt, but somehow the sleeve attached to the collar, and the collar was attached to the avatar's foot. We laughed, we cried, mostly cried, and then came the magical moment. We clicked simulate, and the whole thing exploded like popcorn. Conclusion: we stitched our egos. Day 6, we hit render. The fans started spinning. The screen went black, then white, then black again. "Why is it taking so long?" someone asked. The computer whispered, "Insufficient RAM detected." 4 hours later, we had a glorious render of nothing, just gray. We called it minimalism in fashion. In a galaxy far, far outdated, our CLO version was from the Stone Age. The new features our trainer spoke of, not found. Our cursor lagged. Files refused to open. We begged IT for an update. They replied, "Try restarting it." Truly, the dark side was strong. But from the ashes of bugs and crashes, we rose. We watched YouTube at 1.25x speed. We practiced and failed. and practiced again. One day, the stitches stayed stitched. The sleeves didn't fly away. We made a shirt, a real one, with arms, and that was the turning point. They gave us our first real assignment. Deadline, scary. Expectations, high. Skill level, still Googling how to rotate camera. But we tried, we clicked, we simulated, we panicked. And when we finally exported the final file, we celebrated like it was New Year's Eve. The client said, "Looks great." And suddenly, all the pain, worth it. For the first time, we heard it. This is impressive work. We stared at the screen, then at each other. Silence. Then collective victory dance. We didn't just survive CLO, we conquered it. And finally, we felt like designers. They used to fear the stitch tool. Now they wield it like a sword. Buttons aligned, draping flowed. Top stitching, nailed it. The team that once broke a render now breaks records. We are the CLO Warriors, and we welcome all challengers. The journey isn't over. AI is coming. Faster workflows, better visuals. Soon we'll have 3D samples done in hours. CLO team, we're ready to level up with you. Let's stitch the future together.
Alright, did you enjoy the video? I believe it truly captured the emotion of everyone here. Those who are already proficient with CLO, those who are still learning, and those who are just start their journey. The video's key message is that even designers with strong fashion background may initially struggle. But once they learn CLO, they unlock a whole new world of possibility. As you have already seen in our previous session, we are actively preparing and implementing many measures to support you. We are creating free YouTube videos and operating a comprehensive help center to make learning CLO easier. If you want to systematically study CLO and need proof of courses completion, you can enroll our CLO Academy for certification. We are also running various activities to help you continue using CLO. We have launched several contests already, with more planning for this year, so please keep eyes on our social media and community channel. Additionally, we are planning projects to promote young designers and freelancers, and also developing an incubation program to support small brands as they learn CLO. We have received many requests to identify job postings where CLO skills are key asset. Therefore, we are developing a dedicated job board where you can find those opportunities. We are aiming for a December launch, but please be aware there might be a slight delay due to the internal circumstance. Please stay tuned for update. We understand the challenges you are facing, but we don't know everything. That's why close collaboration is essential. You share your struggles with us, and we will help you overcome them. Trust us, there is a light at the end of this cloud. Thank you all for watching, and I'll now hand over to Laura for the final greeting of today's event.
Thank you all so much for joining us today at the CLO Virtual Summit. It has been an inspiring session filled with creativity, insights, and a shared excitement for what is possible with CLO. We hope you leave today feeling energized and equipped with new ideas, whether it is through Ana's experimental journey or Erisson's couture precision, or maybe Trudy's thoughtful approach to intimate apparel, or Alex's multi-platform creator. Each story shows how CLO can be a powerful tool for innovation, versatility, and personal expression in the world of 3D fashion. If you're a student or just starting out, remember, this is only the beginning. Explore CLO Academy, join our community, and keep an eye on our opportunities, like for example, Pricing Talent or CLO Verified. Thank you also to everyone who participated in the live chat and shared feedback as well through our polls, because your input helps us grow and improve these experiences in the future. So on behalf of the entire CLO team, thank you again for being part of this virtual summit. Let's keep creating, connecting, and pushing the boundaries of fashion together. See you soon!